As you can see, they're cleaning up the floor here at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. Unfortunately, they will be bringing it back out for the second round. The Orlando Magic fall to the Cleveland Cavaliers. The disappointment we all feel and why that too shall pass. It's time for a final game edition of Locked On Magic.
You are Locked On Magic, your daily Orlando Magic podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And you are indeed Locked On Magic. Today is May 5th, 2024. It will be May 6th, 2024 at some point. My name is Philip Rossman-Reich. I'm the senior writer over at OrlandoMagicDaily.com. You can find me on Twitter at PhilipRR_OMD. On today's episode of Locked On Magic, the Orlando Magic fall in Game 7 of their first round series where things were going so right and how they went oh so wrong. We'll talk about it, sort through those emotions and those feelings as the Magic season comes to an end. A truly special season it was. We'll get to all that coming up here in just a moment. First, we want to thank you again for making Locked On Magic part of your day every day, no matter when you listen to us, whether it's first thing in the morning, whether it's right when we upload. We truly appreciate you making Locked On Magic part of your day every day. Remember, there's a great Locked On podcast covering every single team in the NBA, especially our friends over at Locked On Cavs. Get to keep doing this. Check them out for the second round. The Locked On Podcast Network, it's your team every day. Today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by Monopoly Go. This fast-paced game lets you team up with friends for tournaments to unlock awesome prizes like unique stickers for trading, cool playing pieces, and hilarious emojis for taunting your friends. Plus, you're playing Monopoly, which is fun. So download Monopoly Go, now free on Google Play or the App Store. Game on. Well, you don't need me to go over it. We all know what happened. It's been 6 hours since tip-off. I don't know what time it is when you're listening to this, but the Orlando Magic could not have started this game better. They could not have looked more ready for the moment. They could have looked more like they were ready to take the stage, to take this humongous leap. They've already made a humongous leap, but take even a bigger leap. It truly looked like the Magic were having their moment, that they were the ones that were going to take this series, send the Cleveland Cavaliers to their summer, to all the questions that are sure to come for that team. An 18-point lead in the second quarter, just a dominant showing from Paolo Banchero. It looked like this was everything Magic fans could dream of. And it collapsed very, very quickly. And in exactly the ways that we kind of know this team can struggle. And look, the issue is not about effort. We'll get to the struggles that Franz had, the struggles that Jalen had. This was not about effort. This was not about anything more than execution and the ability to rein things in, the ability to, I wouldn't even say stay poised. I think the team did stay poised, but at the end of the day, the Cavs made shots. They made the run, they made the plays, and the Magic could not find an answer. For really the first time all season, the Magic couldn't find an answer. Yes, there were turnovers. Nothing to really kill you about. Yes, there were missed shots, which Magic had survived before, but every time Orlando needed a big shot or needed to spark a run, they just could not string shots together. As well as they played in that first quarter, as well as they had everything working for them in the first quarter, they could not get everything else going for them again. And they just could not replicate what worked so masterfully in the first quarter of that game. And, it's hard to find answers. It's hard to say anything other than that. This is a make or miss league. And Donovan Mitchell and Paolo Banchero were superstars. Just plain and simple. Those two guys canceled each other out. 39 for Donovan Mitchell, 38 for Paolo Banchero. Mitchell did a lot of his work in the second half when Cleveland made their push. Paolo did most of his work in the other. So it did come down to what the others could give you. And, quite frankly, the Magic just did not get enough. Jalen Suggs shoots 2 for 13, scores 10 points. Franz Wagner shoots 1 for 15 for 6 points. They're key players. Not that they didn't elevate their games, but they missed shots when the Magic needed them to make shots. Whereas Max Strus hit a couple of big threes in the third quarter. Darius Garland ended up with 12 points on 3 for 13 shooting. They made massive plays and massive shots in the fourth quarter. Orlando just could not get out of their own way. They couldn't avoid turnovers. They couldn't avoid fouls. And Cleveland took advantage. In moments when the Magic needed to expand their lead, when they needed their offense to just deliver for them because their defense was doing the job, it couldn't do it. And, I've said this a million times throughout the course of the season. The playoffs expose your weaknesses. The playoffs expose all your fault lines. And it's the thing that we needed to see from this team. And we'll have plenty of time to talk about the future. I don't want to talk about the future today. Today is about the now and what happened in this game. But the Magic just did not have the ability to generate offense. From about the middle of the second quarter, really after they took that 18-point lead to the end of the game, their only offense was to set Paolo Banchero up for ISOs and post-ups. Their offense started moving very slowly, initiating very late in the play clock. They did not get good shots, and they did not move the ball, and it did not move and flow, and it felt clunky. The way Cleveland felt clunky in the first half because Orlando's defense was just stonewalling them in the paint. Well, now Mitchell was getting downhill. Now they were spreading the Magic out. Now they were hitting some threes, and the Magic's defense could not reel them back. And you give up 106 points a game. I know they scored 63 in the second half. The Magic's defense did its job all series long. The question in every single game of this series was whether the Magic would hit enough shots. And Orlando went 10 for 31 from three. It's the only game they've lost a series where they made 10 or more threes. But they went 10 for 31. 32.3% is pretty good in this series, but the Magic needed more. The Magic needed to be able to spread the floor, give Paolo Banchero a chance to get some space where he's not seeing 2-3 bodies, to give Franz Wagner a little bit of room to get downhill and get some momentum behind him, which he was struggling to do to get past Evan Mobley. The Magic just could not get the wheel unstuck, and once that wheel got stuck in such a pressure-packed game, this was the Cavs to win. And so again, it's the thing that this team had to learn is they had to learn how to put games away. They had to learn how to finish games off and win win the way that they play, win their way. It simply didn't happen in this game. It simply did not happen. And that's why the Orlando Magic are heading home right now instead of heading to Boston. Again, I want to make sure this is perfectly clear. The Magic were up by 18. They were doing everything the right way. They blew it. And this was a game that they should have won. This is a game that they had every opportunity to win. This is a game that they were in the best space to win. And they did not get the job done. And that should be bitterly disappointing. There was a highly emotional locker room after the game. Jamal Mosley said it best. This sucks. Like this sucks. This feeling sucks. Because this team was so close. We saw we saw what this group is capable of doing. We know what this group is capable of doing. They were capable of winning this game and winning this series. And so to come up short, to not accomplish that goal, it sucks. Plain and simple. And it should be disappointing. It should be frustrating. It should leave a bad taste in everybody's mouth. Because it's bad. It's not good. The Magic were good enough to win this game and good enough to win this series, and they simply didn't get the job done. It comes down to making or missing shots. It always does. The Magic did a lot of good. They did a lot of good things. Cleveland could have easily had one of their patented avalanches. They could have easily blown this game open much sooner, and the Magic's defense kept them in it. But it's hard to be one-dimensional. And in a Game 7, when everything is on the line, again, it's not about effort. It's not even about execution. The Magic got the shots they wanted. They just needed them to go win. And in a one-game scenario, there are no more adjustments to make. You either do it or you don't. And in this game, the Magic didn't. And that just sucks. Like, again, I'm going to use that. I'm going to use the word that Jamal Mosley used. It's not good. And so while there's a lot to be optimistic about, and we will talk a little bit about that toward the end of the show, it was frustrating to watch because we know what this team is capable of. And at the end, when the chips were down, I don't want to say that they didn't trust each other, but they didn't trust that they would find their way back, that they would find their way back to what they did in the first quarter. That's a credit to Cleveland's defense for getting that job done. That is a credit to Cleveland for having the game plan, for having the composure and the poise when a lot of us doubted that they would, to answer that call, to answer that bell, and to put themselves in a position to win the game. Cleveland, make no mistake about it. Cleveland won this game. Orlando did not lose it. Cleveland won the game. But Orlando certainly should feel like they left one on the board, and that's something that they're going to have to sit and stew on and feed on as they head into their offseason. When we come back, we're going to chat. We're going to go over the box score, talk a little about how this game happened and what needed to change. We'll get to that coming up here in just a moment. But first, it's time for a quick word from our friends over at Monopoly Go. Okay, we're taking a time out here. We got to pause to talk more about Monopoly Go. I know what you're saying. We've already talked about that, but there's just so much good stuff in this game. In Monopoly Go, you can team up with friends for time tournaments where you work together to build up each other's boards. The more you win together, the more awesome prizes you unlock, and there's so much to get. Unique stickers you can trade with friends to complete albums for big prizes, cool new playing pieces to travel the boards with, hilarious emojis for taunting friends when you smash their buildings or heist their homes. Plus, Monopoly Go feels new and exciting every day with constantly changing tournaments and challenges. A ton include their own unique mini games like digging for treasure or a robot pachinko machine. And there's always new timed events that help you win big, like massive multipliers for everything you win or rent frenzies. There's always something fun to discover in Monopoly Go, so get off the bench and go download it now free on Google Play or the App Store. Game on. Today's episode of Locked On Magic is also brought to you by FanDuel. It's playoff time in the NBA and NHL. We already had our winner-take-all games, and FanDuel is giving you a shot to bring home a big win of your own. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 to bet on spreads, money lines, player props, and more. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn and make every playoff shot count. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. We want to thank you for making Locked On Magic part of your day every day. If you're watching Fox Sports or ESPN all day, turn down the volume with all that shouting and turn on Locked On Sports Today, a free 24/7 sports streaming channel programmed for you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all the screaming. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't-miss analysis, opinions, and news streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Okay, as you can tell, they are cleaning up the court behind me. I believe the Cleveland Monsters of the AHL, I think it's the AHL, have a game coming up there in the playoffs. The Orlando Solar Bears in the playoffs in the ECHL. But let's run through the final box score of the season as the Orlando Magic fall to the Cleveland Cavaliers 106-94. The place we have to start, take nothing away from Paolo Banchero. Paolo Banchero showed up on national TV in the Game 7 and had one of the best games of his career. 38 points, 10 for 28 shooting, 3 for 6 from beyond the arc, 15 for 18 from the foul line, 16 rebounds. This guy did everything he could to keep the Magic in the game. He had 24 points in the first half, was really shooting the ball well, but when he started to slow down, this offense started to slow down. He was the offense tonight. You know, much like Donovan Mitchell was the offense in Game 6 for Cleveland and how much that hurt the Cavs, that's what happened to Orlando in this game. Both these teams are very kind of heliocentric offenses. They rely on their stars to kind of generate everything, to create tension in the defense, to create switches, create attention. They both did their jobs in this game. They both did their jobs in this series. There's no shame in anything that Paolo Banchero did in this game or anything that he did throughout the series. The turnovers were a bit much. He had 5 again today, but he was trying to do everything he could to get this team and will this team to a victory. That kid is special, as Jamal Mosley likes to say. That kid is going to be – he's not a kid anymore. He's a man now. He's an adult. He's an adult after this series. If this is his first playoff series, he's only going to get better. And again, that's something that the Magic have a superstar player. I'm ready to say that if it's not been clear. The way he performed in this playoff series, the way he performed in this game tells me that guy is going to be leading the Magic to playoff victories for years and years and years to come. Unfortunately, Paolo just did not get enough help. Franz Wagner, 6 points, 1 for 15 shooting, 0 for 5 from 3, 6 rebounds, 6 assists. I did not dislike his shots. Like, he got all the shots that he normally gets, those flip shots, the step throughs. But Evan Mobley did a very good job closing down the paint. Whoever was guarding him did a very good job closing down space. And again, the playoffs tell you what you need to improve on and what you need to get better at. And we saw Franz develop and show a little bit of a mid-range game in games 3 and 4, a little bit in game 6, but those shots, like same thing with Jalen Suggs, we'll get to him in a minute. Those shots just did not fall on that floor behind me, on the floor at the Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. They just could not get those shots to fall on the road. And so the big thing, and again, we're going to talk more about offseason stuff and where the Magic improve come in here in the coming days. The big thing that I come out of this series saying is the Magic need a little bit more diversity in their offense, a little bit more versatility in their offense. They have kind of one way to go at things. Their offense is very simplistic. It is still read-based, but very simplistic. They just, once Cleveland was able to kind of sit on some of those actions, Orlando really struggled to get things going. And again, without viable shooting, without quality shooting, it became tough for the Magic to operate and tough for the Magic to get good looks and get quality looks and get space for Franz to do the things that he does, to do those step-through moves, to get Paolo the ball on the block in a spot that he likes. This team needs a little bit more diversity and versatility on offense. And again, in this kind of a game, we just saw Jalen Suggs and Franz Wagner have 20-point games in a big game in Game 6. It's not that they can't step up. This game is not an indictment of them. Do not let this one game make you judge them. It's one game. Anything can happen in one game. That's the frustrating part of Game 7. We've had 7 games. The series had to end. We're not playing until someone's up by 2. The series had to end. Unfortunately for both Franz and Jalen Suggs, it ended on a poor note because Jalen Suggs, also a really poor game, 2 for 13 shooting, 2 for 10 from 3, 4 for 5 from the foul line. Did have 9 rebounds, including 4 offensive rebounds, 4 assists, 5 turnovers for him as well. That's between Paolo and Franz, 10 of the Magic's 17 turnovers. Again, this is Jalen Suggs got the shots he normally gets. I know he's taken a lot of threes, but those are threes that he takes, and those are threes that the Magic need him to make. And so, again, all series long, he made them at home. He missed them on the road. It's really that simple. His 3-point field goal percentage at home was close to 50%. His 3-point field goal percentage on the road was sub 30. I think it was like 11 for 30, 36, 37, 38, not including this game. So obviously it's worse now. At the end of the day, the Magic just need to get one win on this floor. They need to get one win on the road. And look, they played plenty capably in Game 5. Honestly, they played plenty capably in Game 1. They played plenty capably tonight here in Game 7, and they just didn't get the job done. And again, they just didn't get enough shots. They didn't string enough shots together. They didn't string enough 3-point shots together. They didn't give the help that the star needs in order to win, and that was the factor in this game. The Magic had one other player score in double figures. That was Wendell Carter with 13 points, 5 for 10 shooting, 7 rebounds, 3 steals. Really, Wendell Carter, again, tale of two halves, like so many guys. Really good in the first half. I thought he played excellent interior defense, really set the tone for the Magic that they were not going to let Cleveland get easy shots in the paint. They were giving up kind of those in-between floaters for Mitchell, but second half, a bigger struggle for him. And again, just not giving you enough offensively. And again, just so many times he catches the ball around the basket and he just can't power up to finish over a bigger defender in Evan Mobley. That is something we've been watching all year. It's been something I've been pointing out for a few years now. That kind of showed up in this playoff series as we anticipated. And so it'll be, one of the major questions for the Magic this summer will be about Wendell Carter's future and whether the Magic feel like they can upgrade that position or whether they need to upgrade that position or whether that's something they can go through again. He had a very heavy injury season, where that's something they'll go through again next season. Again, usually the Magic's bench pretty strong. Cole Anthony, 8 points, 3 for 5 shooting in 13 minutes. Markelle Fultz, 8 points, 4 for 6 shooting in 13 minutes. Jonathan Isaac, only 2 points, 1 for 2 shooting. Mo Wagner, only 3 points, 1 for 2 shooting. This was a starter-heavy game. Jalen Suggs plays nearly 40 minutes. Paolo Banchero plays 42. Franz only gets to about 35 just because of early foul trouble. The Magic they didn't have that extra bit. Again, as good as they played in the first half, second half they just couldn't find that offensive flow and rhythm, and it just killed them. I mean, it just prevented them from doing anything and being able to get out and have a chance in this one. And at the end of the day, that's what they needed. They needed to find a way to just get that one bucket to calm everyone down, to settle their defense in, because Cleveland the last 3 games really did such a good job getting out in transition. You can look at those numbers too. Cleveland outscores Orlando 50-28 in the paint. Orlando just 14 for 43 in the paint. So if the Magic weren't getting to the basket, they weren't scoring. That is a problem. Again, diversity of offense, being able to spread the floor with some shooters, so you're not just being concentrated in the paint. A little bit of diversity of offense is something this team needed. Cleveland outscored Orlando 17-11 in fast break points. The team that won fast break points ended up being 4-2 in this series. Game 1 and Game 6 were the only outliers on that. Again, Cleveland gets 39 from Donovan Mitchell. They get 15 off the bench from Karis LeVert. Those minutes were huge. Gave them a big boost at the end of the first quarter when Orlando could have extended that lead. Gave them just a huge boost throughout the course of the game. Or the Magic just couldn't answer him. And then eventually Darius Garland, 3 for 13, finally made a big 3 in that fourth quarter to seal the deal. He had 12 points. Max Strus, 13 points on 3 for 6 shooting. At the end of the day, these two teams could keep going back and forth, and I don't know if either one would win on the other's score. I think that really just putting this series in summation, these were two evenly matched teams. There's a reason this series went 7. It deserved to go 7. And we could play this game 15 more times, it would probably be 25-25. That's how close I think these two teams are. I think ultimately the Magic's inexperience cost them. They will not admit that. They will not cop out to that, nor should they. But there were just moments in the game where the Magic just looked a little rattled. There were moments in the game, in Game 5 too, where it felt like the Magic needed to extend their lead out, where they had an opportunity to turn a 15-point lead to a 20-point lead. And even just that little bit would have changed the game. But the Magic getting up by 18 and then giving up a 12-4 run to end the quarter to be up by 10, that set the table for the third quarter. That gave Cleveland momentum. That gave them the opportunity to get back into this game. And, again, the Magic just could not stop that when it came. They just could not figure things out offensively, and that was ultimately this team's weakness. So the Magic Magic should be frustrated. I want you to feel your feelings on that. I want you to be disappointed. You should be. This is a game that the Magic should have won and could have won to get themselves to the next round and really speed up the development and show how close they are. But still a lot to be proud of. And that's how I want to close the show. I want to close the show on a positive note, because as frustrating as this loss is on Sunday, there's still a lot to be proud of, both from the game and from the season. So we'll wrap that up coming up here in just a moment. But first, it's time for a quick word for our friends over at DoorDash. Mother's Day is next week, next Sunday. I actually need to know that because I was like, I might be traveling. I don't want to do that. So if you want to make your mom smile, and if you're running a little bit late, start Mother's Day with flowers or surprise her with gifts from the brand she loves, delivered the very same day with DoorDash. If mom has a sweet tooth, if she loves tech, if she loves beauty, if she's outdoorsy, no matter what she's into, you can make her smile with a fruit or flower bouquet, makeup, tech gear, workout wear, and more from DoorDash. You can play her flowers with a gift card so she can celebrate any way she wants and get that flower. If she's a bookworm, you can try a bookstore gift card. If she loves a good latte, get a gift card to her favorite coffee shop. You really can't go wrong, and DoorDash has all the options available to you. Shop with savings that would make her proud with a Dash Pass membership. You'll save with a $0 delivery fee and reduced service fees on eligible orders from Dash Pass merchants that meet the minimum subtotal. Other fees, including service fees, apply and terms do apply to. So get all your Mother's Day gifts all in one place. Get 50% off your next order up to $15 when you spend $15+ on your next flower, convenience, grocery, or retail order now with code LOCKEDONNBA. That's LOCKEDONNBA. Order using DoorDash today. Terms apply. So this stinks. Jamal Mosley said it. Told us that he's told the team in the locker room. This sucks. This feeling sucks. It's awful. It's terrible. It's frustrating. To see a special season like this close with a thud. Honestly, I would have preferred a buzzer-beating shot. I would have preferred that, because then at least that was like, well, they got us on one good play. But to see it close this way is frustrating, because the Magic showed us who they are. They showed us what they're about. They showed us what they are capable of. And ultimately, in this game, in this setting, they fell just a hair short. They fell by the slimmest of margins in a Game 7. They were tantalizingly close, but still so far away. And that is disappointing. And I want you to feel your feelings. I want you to be upset that, Franz didn't play a better game. He's upset with himself. I want you to be upset that Suggs didn't play his best game. He's upset with that. This is a special group, though. This is a special team. This is a special season. And nobody wants to hear this now, but I am going to make sure I say it to you. Because nobody wants to hear this when they're feeling sad. And this, I posted a Ted Lasso clip on Adult Magic Daily. Be sad together, but be a goldfish. When you're done being sad, be a goldfish, because this Orlando Magic team accomplished so much this year. This Orlando Magic team did so much and has so much to be proud of this season. They made everyone believe again. They showed us that this path that they took starting with that trade of Nikola Vucevic, a relatively beloved superstar, a relatively beloved all-star in 2021 was the right choice. That the years of pain that you go through in rebuilding do pay off. And believe me, we've sat here and covered a lot of bad teams on this show. It did not always feel like it was going to pay off. But the Magic showed us this season and in this series specifically what they are capable of doing, what their future holds, and what they ultimately are going to become. Will they win a championship by 2030? I sure hope so. But the ride that they're going to take us on is going to be truly special. And the fact of the matter is this. Unlike our playoff appearances in 2019 and 2020, which felt like the end of the road for that group and the hope that someone would develop and someone would grow, this feels like the true beginning of something. This feels like we are starting a long playoff run. It feels like we have a true star in Paolo Banchero. We have the right core with Franz Wagner and Jalen Suggs as your core pieces. There will be changes this offseason. There will be ways to add and grow this team, and we can clearly see that they need it. But what the Magic did this year is they made us all believe it. They made us all see what is possible with this fan base, with this franchise, with this team. They made us all remember what winning basketball feels like and what it feels like to be on the bottom floor of something special, of the roller coaster going up the hill and not knowing where it's going to end. This is the most fun part of a rebuild. This season is the most fun part of the rebuild. A team learning how to win for the first time. That's what we saw this year. And this Magic team embraced every moment of that journey. They embraced every moment together and truly built a team that the city and this franchise can be proud of. This will go down as one of the best seasons in Magic history. It did not end with a finals appearance. It did not end with a conference finals. It did not end with a playoff series win. But it will go down as one of the most special Magic seasons ever. And the fact that this feels like it's just the start, that we will be in this position again next year, that we will be going further next year, that we will be growing and seeing this young group become a true contender in the Eastern Conference, become a true championship level team. All of that still lays in front of us. And that's something special. That's something to celebrate. I want you to feel your feelings. I want you to be disappointed because guess what? That disappointment means that you expected more. That disappointment means that you believe in what this team can be and what this team can do. Yes, they lost. Yes, it sucks that they lost. Yes, it sucks that the season is over. But things are just getting started. And that disappointment, that pit in your stomach that you feel, the players are feeling it 10 times over. Because they know the work is just getting started. They know that this season proved what they can do and that they can be more. So yes, be sad, be frustrated, be upset with this loss. But like Coach Lasso says, when you're done feeling all of those feelings, be a goldfish because the work to win the championship in 2025 starts tomorrow. That's going to do it for me today. I want to thank you all again for listening to today's episode of Locked On Magic. I want to thank you for tuning in all season through this, pun intended, magical 2024 season. Comfortably Numb tells me that it is time for me to sign off. The cord is almost gone. I don't want the lights turning off on me again. But I want to thank you all for listening to today's episode. I want to thank you all for listening throughout the season and coming along with us on this journey. You, of course, follow me on Twitter at @PhilipR_OMD. Subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, Himalaya, Google Play, Spotify, Odyssey, and all the film podcasts to your podcast-enabled listening device. For the latest on the Orlando Magic, be sure to follow OrlandoMagicDaily.com. Be sure to check out OrlandoMagicDaily.com. You can follow us there on Twitter at OMagicDaily. And also be sure to check out my Patreon page, the Orlando Magic Hub. You can find that at patreon.com/Orlando Magic Hub. Just because the season is over does not mean we are done, folks. We will still have daily episodes of Locked On Magic through free agency. So we are not done here. And of course, there'll still be content going up on all my channels. So definitely check them all out. Now that you're done listening to me, be sure to check out Locked On Sports Today. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube and now available on Amazon Fire TV and the free Fire TV channels app. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Find Locked On Sports Today now available on the free Fire TV channels app. I made it. You can see the court is pretty much gone if you're watching on YouTube. It's pretty cool. You didn't know how courts were made, and Cleveland has a little elevated court. But I want to thank you all again for joining me throughout the course of the season. I will be back. Hopefully, I'll be back in Orlando at some point tomorrow, hopefully for exit interviews. But until next time, for Orlando Magic Daily and Locked On Magic, this has been Philip Rossman-Reich. We'll see you all again for another episode of Locked On Magic.